Hey everyone, welcome back to the channel. I'm Scott Herview and you are watching Scott Herview Outdoors, where I do everything outdoors. I try to connect you with nature. I show you how to use natural products in your home. So here it is. It is the end of October. The fall colors are late changing this year and the weather has turned. It's very crisp. We're getting cool days. We're going to start getting a frost at night. Luckily, we haven't had any snowstorms yet this year. Today, I got a special treat for you do-it-yourselfers who like to make your own crafts and your own products. We're in Mom's garden. This is not my garden, this is my mother's. Her garden is pretty much done for the year. And what I found out is she actually is growing sage and lavender. Sometimes here in New England, if we don't have too harsh of a winter, your lavender and your sage will winter over and they will come back next spring. Sometimes they will not. Plants I'm going to use today is going to be lavender and white sage. We have the white sage that Native Americans and Middle Easterners and those who practice yoga actually use to smudge. And we got some lavender. Okay, so we're in the garden now. And this particular variety of plant right here is the white sage. Go ahead and rub some on my fingers. Yeah, it's very aromatic. That's what we're going to be harvesting today. One thing when you harvest these, especially if you think they're going to come back next year, is you don't want to pull the roots, and you also do not want to cut them down all the way to the roots because you want to have something that's going to spring up. So I'm going to get my clippers out. Now there's also a lot of weeds in here too, because like I said, this garden is pretty much past harvesting time as far as everything else that was growing in here. So this one here is not lavender. This is actually English thyme that she had growing down there. So the English thyme is actually edible, but I'm still going to go ahead and use it in my sprays because a lot of this is past prime. So I'm just going to take a little bit of the time, and this just goes to show that you can grow your own herbs for cooking and whatnot. So I'm going to go ahead and harvest all of the white sage because for my projects, I am going to need a lot of it. I'm going to be making smudge sticks, room sprays, and it's going to take pretty much everything I have left in here. And I'm just going to throw them right into the same box. And like I said, I'm not going to cut all the way down to the ground, just in case this does winter over. As you can see right now, I'm not really being too neat because I'm not going to save any of this plant. Normally, if it was during the summer, I would just probably harvest a few leaves at a time so that the rest can grow. But we almost had a frost last night, so like I said, I just want to harvest everything before it gets too late to use it. And she's also got some growing in a pot here. We got our white sage, and now I gotta find where the lavender is because it's over in the driveway area, and a lot of that the grass has grown up around. So I did find the lavender plants here in the driveway. Unfortunately, this time of year, they have already flowered, and while they still got an aroma to them, it's very subdued right now. Yeah, it's pretty much past season on these, so there's really not much scent left. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead, clip off all these flowers. It's not going to bloom anymore. I don't know if the camera is actually picking this up, but I've already got some dead stalks in here. So I'm just going to try to find some that's left. Hi everyone, so now we're in the studio. Native Americans will smudge, which will be to burn sage, and they'll let the smoke cover their body. They'll walk room to room. The smoke come up. This way here, it gets rid of all negative energy, gets rid of negative spirits. Middle Easterners and also people who practice yoga will actually kind of do the same thing to give them that calming nature. And even when you do it with Native American beliefs, it does bring a calming nature to you. So it helps calm the spirit. It helps with just releasing all the negative energy in your body. So I've got some materials that I want to show you first. In front of me right here, what I have is the different type of smudging that Native Americans and others use. Now this goes back all the way to the Roman times. First, that might be more familiar to you if you go to powwows or if you're in a yoga studio. This right here is called a smudge stick. Now this one is freshly made, that's why it's green. When it dries out, it will look more like what you used to see at Native American powwows, where it's actually all white. So what they do is they go ahead and light the end of this and let it burn for a little bit, then they will blow it out and then all the smoke will come up. Another one you might see them do is the oyster shell. So this is a large oyster shell that has been cleaned, it has been varnished. Now you can see mine's well used, and I got the stand. So what they'll do is they'll set this down on the stand. They'll go ahead, take some of their sage, they'll put it in, they'll light it, blow it out, and then as the smoke comes up, they'll go ahead and just take in all the smoke. Now, unfortunately, I cannot show that to you here in the studio because I have a fire alarm right above me that is very sensitive. Any little bit of smoke at all will set it off, and it's almost 10 o'clock at night, and I live in a second floor apartment, so I don't want to be doing that. So this is pretty much what you would find at a Native American powwow, which is where I got most of these supplies. Here we're going to show you how to actually make smudge sticks. The sage I'm going to be using today is white sage. Right here, these are the ones I've made up last night. They're actually still green. These are pure, meaning that they are just sage. They do not have any other plants like some of the other ones I want to show you, which has going to have some thyme and some lavender in it for some extra scents. Would be more or less the ones used at Mid-Eastern and also yoga studios. These here are the pure sage, which would be the Native American ones. It's really not that hard to make. There's only a few materials you're going to need. Basically, it's going to be your sage clippings. You're also going to need something to tie it with. Most people prefer cotton, so any thick cotton string, I do not suggest thread or cotton twine. Okay, so the first thing I'm doing is I'm actually just putting down some paper towels because I don't want to get any of the oils all over my table and ruin it. Now, what I'm going to look for in my sage is I actually want pieces that pretty much resemble this. They're very leafy, they're pretty much green, they haven't turned wood yet. What I'm going to do is I'm going to try to do this in an orientation that I'm not used to working in so you can see exactly how I'm laying this out. So I'm just going to go through, take the bundles, lay them down. Now as you can see, this one here has a long stem, it's quite woody. I actually want the green part right here. So I'm just going to go ahead, break that off, lay it down. As you can see, it's starting to get nice and thick through there. Now, some people say to just strip off the leaves and use that. The only problem is when you first tie the knot, you kind of need the stems to kind of anchor everything in place, and I'll show you that as well. So I'm just going through, laying out a bunch. It does take a lot of bundles to make a thick stick. Now, these parts here I'm actually going to save because what I'm going to do is I'm going to strip the leaves off of this this pot here of these woody sticks, and I'm actually going to put them into plastic bags like I showed you at the beginning of the video, that I can actually burn in my oyster shell. Probably got enough there for one medium size. So what we're going to do now is we're going to take our string, and you want to leave it long because you're going to be doing a lot of wrapping. So first I'm going to grab my bundle together and go underneath the bundle, and you want to leave a long tag in. Because that's going to serve for multiple purposes. And this part here, you want to make sure you tie nice and tight. So what you want to do now is you want to just start taking, make sure the tag end stays out of the way if possible, and just, you're going to crisscross up one direction first, and as you're doing this, you want to try to bend all the leaves up forward. So I'm kind of working here. Let me switch angles here that I'm used to working at. Hopefully you all can still see that. So you want to bend the leaves all up forward as you're wrapping. Bend and wrap. Just keep going. Now, when you get to the end like this, typically what I do is I just go ahead, fold them down backwards. Kind of gives me more of a blunt end, and try to hold it. And then I'm going to go ahead and give that a wrap as well. Now, what I'm going to do is I'm going to come down and start crossing the other direction. Making sure all the leaves pretty much get tucked in as tight as possible. Now, these are homemade, so it's not like they're going to be 100% perfect, but they will still suffice to do smudging. And I got a lot of loose leaves on this one, so I'm just going to go ahead and do one more layer across. Make sure these leaves are held down as much as possible. And then come back down. And then once you get to the bottom like this, what you want to do is you want to leave kind of a long end, because typically you're supposed to hang these to dry. It takes about a good week to 10 days to dry. Then I'm going to tie this off together. It will turn the whitish color, and once it dries, you can go ahead, burn it, and start smudging. So now I'm going to go ahead and show you some different variations that you can do. If I look down in my box down here, still got some time, and hopefully I should still have some lavender. Yes, I do, right here. So this variation using the thyme and the lavender is not pure Native American. It's probably something more that you would find in a yoga studio or Middle Eastern celebration. What we're going to do is pretty much the same process that we did before. I'm going to go ahead, take some sage, So I'm just going to go ahead, lay my sage out, and then this one I'm just going to add some lavender on top, and go ahead and throw a couple sticks of the thyme in there. Yeah, get off of there. Just for a little extra scent. And the process is just going to be the same. I'm going to take my string, I'm going to wrap it around the stems. Some people find that it's easier to actually just lay it down, run the string underneath and then tie it. I'm left-handed, so whatever works for you. So I'm going to go ahead and tie that. And again, just going to go ahead and repeat the process. If you want to get super neat about it, you can go ahead and kind of clip off anything that might be sticking out. There's one, has lavender, has thyme, and it has sage in it. So I hope you like these videos. It's a little bit different than my usual outdoor stuff, but I'm showing you also how to bring nature into your house so that you can continue to enjoy the outdoors and nature all year long. Try to use our natural resources to the best of our ability. You know, grow your own herbs, pretty much anything outdoor related. So it's a little bit different video than I normally do. Hope you like it. If you'd like to see more, please comment down below. Let me know. Like, subscribe. Hoping to maybe bring some cooking to the channel as well, outdoor cooking or cooking from nature. We'll see how that goes. We're getting into the winter months now, so I'm not really going to be able to get much outdoor ingredients that shortly, but we'll go ahead and end this, and we'll see you in the next video.